Welcome back to Beyond the Build, where construction, entrepreneurship, and family life intersect. I'm Diana.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Sean. Let's dive in. In this episode, we sit down with our EOS implementer, Eddie Russ, to talk about the shift that changed everything for Skelly Build. We break down how EOS, scorecards, clear processes, and true accountability transformed growth from reactive chaos into intentional momentum. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
How's your week going?
It's going great.
I feel like we just saw you.
Yeah, I think we were
did.
just together for our EOS session. Had a session yesterday with a new client on their two vision building days. So it's been a fantastic week.
That's awesome.
Is Sean your number one EOS seller now?
He is. He's number one. For sure.
You should get
He's my
kickbacks from
marketing.
EOS and Builder Trend.
Exactly.
It's so true. Thanks for joining us again, Eddie. We want to start off with you telling us your background and about yourself and really how you got here today.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. So a little backstory. I grew up in downtown Chicago, son of a lifelong entrepreneur. My dad was a residential interior designer for 40 plus years in Chicago. My first career was in education. So I was a high school English teacher, varsity basketball coach, soccer coach, then a dean of students and a director of athletics. So at independent private high school in San Francisco, and then at St. Stephen's Episcopal School here in Austin. So I was always a coach and a teacher from the very beginning, always wanting to make a positive impact on people and helping them be their best. In 2007, the entrepreneurial bug hit me. I was ready for a shift, so I left teaching and I had the opportunity to purchase a children's soccer franchise called Soccer Shots. So I bought the rights to Austin in 2007, and a year later in 2008 bought the rights to San Antonio. Amazing opportunity to make a positive impact on children ages 2 to 8 through the beautiful game of soccer. Like most entrepreneurs, had no idea what I was doing. So just a little bit of hustle, a little bit of pedal to the metal. We had some successes early on and also lots of mistakes. And really what happened in 2015, I was handed the book Traction by Gino Wickman, which talks about the EOS and the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And that book had a profound impact on me personally and professionally, and really shifted the way that I operated my business. So we started implementing in 2016 and really had incredible success, became one of the top grossing franchises in the country. And I was fortunate to be able to exit that company and pass along my business to a great new set of owners who have a passion for kids and a passion for soccer last May, which was really exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So 11 years of studying and implementing EOS.
18 years of Soccer Shots.
Yes.
And
Yes,
then, starting, in 2016 with EOS. Yes.
So when did you become an EOS implementer in that process?
I read Traction, the light bulb went off in my head because I realized there's actually a way to run a business. You almost wish someone had told you that
Right.
all those years before. And I was like, okay, we're going to try to do this. And it really impacted me. And what happened was I would start giving friends who are entrepreneurs a copy of Traction. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you may find this valuable because it had such a large impact on me. And my friend Krista Bergeron, who's the founder and CEO of Austin Simply Fit, which is, they do one-on-one training, personal training in Central Austin and South Austin. She asked me to help coach her and her team, and this was back in 2018. So I started teaching and coaching them EOS to the best of my ability in 2018. And then this thing called COVID hit, if you all remember. And when COVID hit in 2020, we actually had just left for spring break to our house in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. So instead of going for a week, we ended up staying for 9 weeks. And so we were there for the very beginning, and obviously Soccer Shots shut down. And so we had a lot of time on my hands, and I started to think, what else? Soccer didn't come back, or what else could I do, or what else would I want to do? I took a little clarity break. I really realized I love coaching. I love coaching. I love working with entrepreneurs, and I'd like to be able to help other entrepreneurs with this system and reach the same success that I've reached. So that kind of light bulb went off. And really in the end of fall of 2020, I reached out to a couple other entrepreneurs that I know. And I started working with Bird's Barbershop, who you might know has probably a chain of 9 or 10 stores in Austin. And they were one of my other first clients. And from there, I still wasn't a professional implementer, but was working with them and coaching them. And then another entrepreneurial friend, Maya, who owns Viva Day Spa.
Oh, yeah.
I started working with them at the very beginning of 2021. And it was at that time I decided to actually go become a professional EOS implementer. And I did what's called boot camp in May of 21, where I did the official training and became a professional EOS implementer.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and I think you said a really good point about most entrepreneurs or business owners. They're good at a few things and not everything. Like when you have the passion to start a business, you've typically only touched a few pieces of that business and you have no awareness about all the other portions of the business. And I think that's a big realization for like most business owners is they think that they're good at everything and
That's
then
right.
they've only gotten like a piece of these other parts of the business before starting.
Yeah, it's a classic technician trying to be a business owner and not seeing all pieces of the business. Thank you, Eddie, for that beautiful introduction. For those out there, can you tell them, obviously EOS in our world is very known and we know exactly what we're talking about,
Yeah.
but could you give like a 30,000 foot summary of EOS to those that are listening that may not be as familiar as we are?
Sure. EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And EOS is really a proven system and a set of simple, practical tools. They've been around for 100 years, going to be around for 1,000 more. And EOS helps business owners and their leadership teams get better at three things that we call vision, traction, and healthy. So vision in the sense of getting everybody, starting with your leadership team, on the same page with where you are and where you're going. Traction's around instilling discipline and accountability throughout the organization. So no matter where you go, people are hopefully executing on that vision the very best way every time. And then healthy is, again, starting with your leadership team, is making sure you are a open, honest, cohesive team that enjoys spending time together. Because as we know, that's not always the case. And what we have found is as goes your leadership team, so goes the rest of your organization. And we get to the point down the road where everybody in your entire organization is aligned and rowing in the same direction, right? Sharing that vision. They're executing with discipline and accountability, and you're surrounding yourself with an incredible group of people that you want to spend time with. So that's really what EOS is and what it does.
Beautiful.
Very well said.
Yes. You work with many different entrepreneurs and companies. What is the biggest change you notice after implementing EOS into their companies or even your own company?
Yeah, great question. I'll start with my own company. When we started implementing in 2016, and it takes a little while, right, to learn the tools and start seeing some traction. But from my standpoint, I was a founder and a visionary. And what took a little bit of time was starting to let go of the vine, right? And not feeling like I had to have my hands in everything. So I think a lot of us, when we start companies, we're used to doing so many things. But EOS gave me some structure and a cadence that didn't really exist before. Every day was just solving problems. And that structure and cadence of meeting and that meeting pulse, that level 10 meeting, really allowed us to become a healthier team. And I also would say is really start operating as a leadership team. Like we had people in quote leadership positions, but we really weren't a true leadership team. And I think EOS really allows people to operate like that.
I think you guys could answer that question too. Like, what was the biggest change we've noticed after implementing EOS with Skelly Build? And we can all answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest change that happened is everybody gets on the same page in terms of where we are and what is our goal, BHAG, what is our 10-year goal. For us, we came out and said we wanted to be the #1 custom builder and remodeler in Austin. And that gives everybody kind of the vision of where we want to go. And some people want to be on that bus and some people don't, and that's fine. And I think that ultimately helps us figure out who wants to be on that journey together, who wants to put in the hard work or not. And I think to me that was the biggest change is after you come out with that big goal, your company changes.
Yeah, and I think it provided a lot of the necessary structure to manage a lot of people. I think a lot of times before EOS, we were having pretty intense meetings, but not much was getting accomplished in those meetings. We'd almost have to re-talk about everything we already talked about in the next meeting. And so the EOS platform has provided a lot more structure when it comes to that segmented meeting and making sure that there's some actual accomplishments that are taken away in each meeting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the basics of setting up our core values and then evaluating everybody from the right people, right seats perspective. We've done a lot of that over the last 18 months, and that's been like critical to moving the company forward in the right direction. And it sounds so simple, but really when you evaluate everybody on your core values, figuring out if they align is very important for like where the company is going. So right people, right seats term or tool we utilize all the time.
Extensively.
Yeah. And I've seen a big change with you all too. Your ability to have clear conversations around our people, the right people in the right seats, right? Those tools of core values and the GWC, get it, want it, capacity, and the accountability chart, it like gives us the structure and the language to have sometimes some challenging conversation. And we always come at it with care and with love, but we have the opportunity for people to coach people up, and hopefully they can rise to the challenge. Or if they're not core value fits, set them free to work in other companies where they are core value fits. You owe it to them to let them go find other organizations where they're a better fit.
Yeah, and you do a really good job of looking at the business from every angle, because we're so in the business every day that you have a lot of good perspective throughout our meetings on, have you thought about it like this, or have you thought about it from their perspective, or also just reining us back in all the time.
Pull you back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to compliment you, it's taken a lot of the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
And it's taken a lot of the emotional decision making out of the process of what's going to help the business get to the next level.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So what's the hardest part of EOS for founders?
Yeah, I think the hardest part for founders when they implement EOS, there's a couple things that I think about, right? One is founders, you're used to doing everything. You've literally started this from nothing, right? This is what entrepreneurs do. This is their superpower. They have an idea and they activate and they create this business, right? And in that, at some point you hit a ceiling and it's a little bit chaotic and you realize you need some help, right? But that shift from being almost like hero-centric, where it's all about you, to building a true leadership team and then becoming the architect of this entire organization as you scale is a big shift for a lot of founders. So that's one. Two, I think as you grow and you start to implement EOS, as we just talked about, you start looking at right people, right seats. And it's hard for founders sometimes to let go of people who maybe they were around when you started the business, right? But as the company has changed and evolved and you have different needs and you start to articulate what are the seats on the accountability chart that you need, sometimes those people haven't grown with the company and it's hard for them to let go of some of those connections. And so really, I think it's those two things are the hardest for founders.
Yeah, and I think I did a panel this week with a bunch of builders, and the hardest thing for entrepreneurs is always letting go of control. And for me, the stimulus for that was like having a child, which I wish that it had been before that, because it's like that's a really big stimulus to have to, but I'm glad that I did it at that time, because we talked about with Josh, like family is always first priority. So being able to let go of control and delegate is extremely useful. But it did take me having a child to do that. And
right.
Like other entrepreneurs, just you don't have to do that.
Yeah, you had to let go of the vine because you had
yeah,
and
then I just did it again and again.
Times 4.
I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, I really appreciate EOS. My background as a CPA obviously seems very disciplined and very robotic, but in reality, I think that there's a lot of freedom inside of structure. You know, we have the structure on what we're going to do, how we're going to get there, what our core values are, what is our 10-year goal, 3-year target,
quarterly rocks.
But inside of that, you kind of let the experts help them meet those goals, because the quarter goals talk to the 1-year goal, which talks to the 3-year goal, which talks to the 10-year goal. So I think there's a lot of freedom inside of structure. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Exactly what you said. I would add it from a slightly different angle and just say, look, when you are a founder and you're an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur is hard. It's really hard to run a truly great entrepreneurial company. And what I have found through my experience and with working with a lot of entrepreneurial leadership teams, there's a lot of noise out there. And there's a lot of fires we are putting out every day. And when we do have some structure, like an operating system like EOS, it puts some bumpers and it puts a cadence of meetings. Think about your weekly level 10 and our quarterly, we meet every single 90 days and we meet for an annual. So some of that structure, sometimes I meet with entrepreneurs, especially like creatives, maybe in the event industry or different creative outlets or in marketing firms. And I don't know, I'm a creative entrepreneur. I don't know if I could work within a system, right? I need to be free and creative. And I have this conversation. I was like, look, you have the ability to be more creative and focus on the most important creative aspects of your business that you want, because some of this other noise is going to go away, because you're going to have some structure that's going to absolutely drive your focus, which actually leads to greater freedom.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you have any comments on that?
I think that's absolutely true. I think for me now, it's letting go of control is practiced. It's like going to the gym and getting stronger. And honestly, I feel like I'm pretty good at it at this point. I don't know what everybody else's grade of me is on that, but I don't enjoy holding like anybody's tasks in my hand, my own, but the leadership team. So it's letting go. I think I've just definitely seen all the benefits of what that can do.
What's allowed you to let go a little bit, would you say?
I think good leadership team, trusting people. Like I'm a very trusting person. Like I wake up every morning and I want to trust everybody that's around me. And even if they did something shitty to me the day before, like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I trust you again. And that might not be right, but I think I'm a trusting person. I think having kids has allowed me to let go because I've really figured out where my real priorities lie. The structure of business organizations like EOS has allowed me to let go. But I think a lot of it is just the right people. And that's really where it comes back to every time is the right people. And the story of me transitioning out of CEO role it's interesting because I was very overwhelmed and my body was very tense and like I could feel it inside of myself. And I got appendicitis the next day after we started talking about it. And that was like a horrible impetus to get there. But in my mind, that like immediately triggered, I was like, okay, I need to let someone else lead this company who's really going to do a better job and take it to new heights, because I can't give everything in my home life and everything in the business. Like, obviously we're married. There has to be a balance of roles. And you know what's interesting, Eddie, is we've worked through EOS on a personal level too.
Love
we
it.
have family core values.
Perfect.
We have family rocks. And that's really been helpful. We actually have like our list of tasks
Our
that each of
accountability
us,
chart.
our accountability
I
chart.
love this. This makes me happy.
The intensity level of Sean and I is crazy. But like that's really been helpful too. It's silly stuff like who plans the birthday parties, who restocks the clothes when they grow up a
clarity.
size.
Clarity.
Yeah, it's clarity.
Yeah.
And like we don't even have to ask each other, which is nice.
Right. If you think about that without that clarity, you're probably who's going to do this, and you're stepping on each other's toes. And that happens organizationally too, right?
Yes.
Without structure, you don't know who's accountable for what. You have more than 2 or 3 people asking or trying to do the same thing. And that's the opposite of freedom, in my opinion.
And the opposite of efficiency.
Exactly.
I don't want to have to ask Sean what school camp Atlas is going to do during the summer. He doesn't even need to know.
Right.
I don't know.
He's like, what camp? What? Atlas?
Oh,
Atlas?
is in
Who's Atlas? Who's Atlas?
No.
over here? No, I'm kidding. Sounds like you trust the right people in the right seats on your team.
I've been very lucky. Yes.
You've got some amazing people on your team, and you've provided the clarity to know if they're the right people. And when you have that, sounds like it's easier to let go in the vine.
I think so. Do you think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the biggest change you've noticed in Skelly Build before and after EOS?
I think, first of all, you guys are completely open and honest, and you've been able to really there's some challenging decisions we have to make as leaders. And I've seen your ability to really dive into the root of the issue and make those issues with confidence, solve those issues with confidence and clarity. I think that's one of the biggest improvements I've seen from y'all.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Josh, you have any input on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question.
Yeah, I think that EOS has really helped me be confident in making these right people, right seat decisions. I think without EOS, without a measuring system, you go back and forth on your head if you're making the right move. And you actually brought it up earlier when you said that a lot of times it'll be people who have just been there. And so that becomes an emotional decision where you're like, they've been here a long time, but in the back of your head, they're not helping. If anything, they might have already checked out and they're hurting things. And so I think the EOS right people, right seats gets it once it has the capacity. literally takes that emotional element out of it so that we can look at who that person is and the function that they're supposed to be doing, and are they doing that function, yes or no. And I've really enjoyed that strategy, because then I'm confident when I make that decision, because I've thought of all the different perspectives around it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to add in that we've changed a lot of how we hire, how we review, because we now have these 5 core values, and during the interview they're getting the 5 core values and our core purpose and our core niche and our target market, and they know everything that we're about during that interview. And so Josh can easily say, this is what we're about, talk to me about these 5 elements, and see if that they're also a core value fit before they even come on. And that is clarity during an interview. And then on top of that, reviews. That's how Josh does his 90-day review, annual reviews. He's looking at the core values in the GWC, and he's checking, are they or are they not? And that's an easy way for management to see, are they the right people, right seats?
I also want to just commend you guys on I think you're getting and seeing success with EOS for 2 main reasons, right? One, you guys are an extremely open and honest and trusting leadership team. When you think about Lencioni's pyramid of trust, and you think about vulnerability-based trust, like, you guys are high trust, and that makes a big difference for leadership teams. And the second thing is, from day one, you guys have been 100% all in on EOS.
I was 100% all in.
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know if I was day 1.
Convince them.
Maybe day 2. Maybe day 3.
Maybe
You
Vision
know.
Builder 2.
Yeah.
I would actually say by the end of day 1.
By the end of day 1. Okay.
Yeah, because
Oh, that's good.
because I did walk out of that first meeting and go, wow, there was a lot that we needed to do that we just never even talked about.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Taryn brings it up every time I see her too. Josh's wife, EOS has made a huge impact in Josh's life, personally and professionally, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
You don't go into a business system thinking that it's going to make a difference in your whole life.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear that. I just want to follow up on that last comment too. The second thing I was going to say is being all in. As an example, you guys embraced core values.
Yeah.
Really embraced them. And I have many clients who do, and some a little bit less. And you guys were really all in with that. Example, I think I remember one of your first state of the companies, and was it Batman or a pirate? What did you dress up as? What did you
Well,
dress
he's
up?
done it all.
Give me one of them. What was it?
I was
George
Captain
Washington?
Jack Sparrow.
Captain
First
Jack
one.
Sparrow.
That's right.
But I think it's that kind of enthusiasm, right? Like, enthusiasm goes a long way to sell this operating system to your entire team about, this is where we're going, right? And this is who we are. And that confidence and enthusiasm and optimism, I think, is a strong suit for you all as leaders.
Yeah, and I like to tell this story because it's fun, but one of our team members who really emulates our core values utilizes it on her date.
I love this.
I mean,
love it.
when
Of
she
course,
told us
why
all
wouldn't
that,
you?
we were like, that is incredible.
Yeah, so she tells the dates, the 5 core values, and makes them talk to the 5 core values.
I love that. That is the best.
Yeah,
That
that's
is the
pretty cool.
best.
That's
It's
pretty cool.
the best.
Perfect.
Okay, Eddie, what do great teams, athletic or business, have in common?
I love that question. Absolutely love it. Goes straight to my heart as a coach for many years, both at the high school level in soccer and basketball. I love coaching and I love athletics. I think there's a few things, right? Number one, great athletic teams and great entrepreneurial companies have a shared vision. Athletic teams, obviously the goal is winning or winning a championship, and they share 100% of what the outcome is. Just like a great entrepreneurial team running on EOS, right? You have a shared vision, you know where you are, and everyone is on board of where you're going, right? And that's our VTO, our Vision Traction Organizer. And we know where we want to be in 10 years, what our 3-year picture looks like, what's our winning plan for the year, and then we're going to get there every 90 days and what the priorities are. We have a shared vision. That's super important. 2, what I would say is we have to make sure you have the right people in the right seats, right? We're not going to put the point guard under the basket.
Yeah.
The point guard needs to be out handling the ball.
Yeah.
We're not going to put your best striker in soccer back on defense. We have to have the right people in the right seats. And same thing in an organization. We're going to create a seat on the accountability chart. We're going to make sure people are core value fits. That's right people. And right seat, they get it, want to have capacity to do that role that we've created. We have to have great accountability. Championship athletic teams, I know who I need to cover, or we're playing a certain defense. I know what my job is, and I know what I'm accountable for. Just like in our accountability chart, we create clarity and the 5 roles, and we know who is accountable for what inside our organization. So that's super crucial. There's a process to getting better. So great athletic teams practice. You practice every day, and you trust the process that you want to get better each and every day. And an EOS company, we have a process too. You guys get better every week. You win the week in your weekly level 10. And every quarter, there's a structure to get together to make sure we're still aligned. And we trust the process. And look, we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to get better over time. So I think those are shared. And then finally, I think you have to build an incredible culture with shared values. Early on, for many years, my teams were play hard, play smart, play together. I didn't even realize at the time, but those were their core values. I was like, I'm going to come up with a slogan and put it on a shirt. But when I go back now, I'm like, yeah, those are our shared core values.
For soccer shots.
That was back when I coached high school. Oh. And that was really around, so great teams have a shared culture and a collective responsibility, and a culture that if you don't fit that culture, you're not going to be on a championship team. Just like a championship entrepreneurial company, you have to have that shared amazing culture together.
Yeah, and I actually remember that is one of the reasons why I walked away from day one buying in, because you were able to make that connection for me. I played football 14 years, and some of my best memories I have are with my team. And I remember me and Sean actually sat down after that meeting, and we made the analogy of, yeah, this is a team. We have to have the right players. We have to have the right vision. We all got to want to win the championship together. And I think that connection was what really helped me realize how important the structure was, because like on any good championship team, they'll always say, look at how structured that organization is. Look how everyone does their role to the best of their ability. And that paralleled with me with what we're trying to accomplish at Skelly Build.
I love that. I would just add too, they're playing within a system.
Yes.
Championship teams have a certain structure and a system, just like your team, Skelly Build, has a structure and a system.
It's very cool. It's hard to think that we didn't have a system prior. Really, it is.
Yeah.
Like you look back and you're like, the way we're set up, the way we communicate, our meetings, our rocks, our goals. What the heck did we do prior?
We did a lot of it. It just wasn't as it just wasn't as organized.
Yeah.
It wasn't organized. The direction wasn't there. We were just all doing there wasn't processes written down. It's a little bit scary to think that we did that prior.
So most businesses are
I
operating
know.
like that.
I would say that we actually got on that trajectory
Before.
You're
right.
Yeah.
And then that's when EOS was the true light bulb for us,
Yeah.
because
You're
we
right.
had been working towards
We had scorecards.
processing and documenting.
Yeah. I read What the Heck is EOS a year prior.
Perfect.
And so I started implementing
Yep.
little things.
Yep.
So you're right. We did.
We did.
But it was still based on
We had little
EOS.
nuggets.
Yeah.
We didn't have the whole thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have you.
That's funny. That's funny.
All right. Next, we're going to do rapid fire questions.
All right.
These are just questions that you'll
Quick answers.
answer quickly.
All right. Sport you'd rather watch, basketball or soccer?
Ooh,
Is this
Basketball.
nice.
I would choose basketball.
hard? Neither.
You wouldn't watch.
I don't watch sports
You
on
wouldn't
TV.
watch. Have you gone to an Austin FC game?
Okay, I would go watch it in person.
Have you gone?
No, I have not
Okay, I'll
gone.
make sure I'll give you guys my tickets to a game.
Thank you, Eddie.
Gotcha.
I actually would pick soccer.
Cool.
I actually do like watching soccer live
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah, I do too. I love soccer. That's a hard one for me because
Well,
I actually
yeah,
love
that is a
both those.
hard
I
one
love
for
both those sports.
I think that's why they're
But
on there.
yeah, probably. But I would say
Brain teaser.
growing up in Chicago, I loved basketball.
I did also watch my two children play soccer last
I've
Saturday.
always said I'd
2.5-year-old.
rather play basketball than
4-year-old.
watch it.
Yeah.
Because basketball is such a fun game.
Yeah,
when you're
it
playing
is.
it.
All right, what's harder, coaching teenagers or coaching executives?
Definitely coaching executives. 100%. Teenagers are easy. Yeah, coaching executives.
Oh,
That's a good one.
that seems
Do you have any hidden talents?
I don't know if they're hidden from you, but I am a DJ.
Oh,
I've DJ'd for 25 plus years. I've DJ'd in lots of environments and opened for many artists over the years. A lot of reggae artists over
You
the
have
years.
a very musical
That's
family.
cool.
What is your DJ name?
Ja Karma, like Ja Rastafari. Ja Karma.
Okay.
So
So
a lot-
you do reggae,
I do a lot of reggae, but I do
love
funky.
reggae.
I really do funky global beats, but I have a monthly reggae party at Stargazer called Boom Something with Mick Polish, who's a well-known reggae DJ and producer here in Texas.
Love that.
Very cool. Most overused business buzzword.
That's an interesting one. Most overused business buzzword, I'm going to say synergy.
Nice.
ooh, that's a good one.
Do you have one?
What would be the most?
I have one. Ecosystem.
Yeah, oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Everyone drops
Ecosystem.
ecosystem all the time.
Ecosystem.
We heard that word like 20 times yesterday.
That's a good one.
I'd say transparent. A lot of people use that word transparent in, I don't think the correct context.
Yeah.
Boundaries?
Nice.
Morning routine must-haves.
Coffee.
Amen.
Done. Same.
Monster energy drink.
Oh.
That's how he gets the day off right over there. That's
How many of those a day do you have?
I usually don't even finish the one. I'll do 3/4 of it.
You're like,
I used to be really bad. I used to drink like 3-4 of them a day. So
that's a lot of monster.
Damn.
when you're out there physically working
Yeah.
in the field, you need something to keep you going.
Keep the
And
energy flowing.
I just never liked coffee. I don't know why. The taste was never. I like something cold, not hot in the morning.
There you go.
What's one habit that separates great leaders?
I think great leaders are great repeaters, and they know what to repeat, their values, their purpose, right? And some of the best leaders, I think, know that.
I think one of the lessons that we talk about a lot is knowing there's two sides to every story and coming at things from a logical standpoint whenever you're working through person-to-person issues, which happens a lot in any service industry-based business.
Yeah, I'm going to go to good to great here. Discipline culture.
Yeah, I'm going to go with consistency. Consistency to me means that I know who and what that person is about every single day. And I can tell you that Sean and Diana are the most consistent people that I've ever met. And so in my opinion, that separates themselves from a lot of people where you don't know how they're going to be from one day to the next.
Yeah, that kind of even keel can know you're going to show up
Every day.
Yeah,
Yep.
I like that one. That's great.
Yeah, that is a good one. You're the same way.
Appreciate it.
One word people would just
John, you don't have to do all of them. Let's just do one more. What is your favorite thing?
Go ahead.
What is your favorite thing about living in Austin?
My favorite thing is all the live music. I'm a big music fan, so I love, and we have just a great ecosystem of music and artists. There's a lot of, I'm going to be transparent. There's a lot of synergy around music in Austin.
All right, we need some boundaries here.
Oh, God. I don't even think that was purposeful.
Keep going. That was awesome. Music.
I love music.
Music.
Yeah, that's awesome.
South by
That's
is about
awesome.
to happen,
Yes.
so you're probably
Yes.
packed.
Yes, and food.
That's awesome.
And are you
Good food,
strictly
too.
reggae or do you do other genres?
I could really call my genre funky global beats. So I do reggae regular, and I do a lot of reggae, but sort of African, Latin, house.
Nice.
So I've played in a lot of different places and all around the country and events.
Cool, man.
What is your favorite thing about living in Austin?
I like the connection to nature and just outside and the great weather and the fact that it doesn't rain much and it's hot. All of that.
You love the 105 in
I do.
September.
I
You
do.
love that?
I
That's
actually do.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm one of the rare ones. I like to be outside in it.
Perfect.
We can sweat.
Yeah.
I like how there's something for everybody here. Like, I've talked about it a lot, but there's obviously, I've lived here since I was 18, so there's been a lot of transitions, like college, then young professional, then business owner, and then family. And there's really so much for all of those different phases of life in Austin.
For me, it's hands down hospitality. Coming from Los Angeles and Las Vegas, they're inhospitable environments. And it was the very first thing I noticed when I moved here, that I think people are much more friendly and family oriented.
Okay, so we're going to touch on any lessons we've all learned this month. So every month, business ownership teaches us a lot of new things about people, systems, leadership, or ourselves. Did anyone learn any new lessons this month?
I'll go back to what we've consistently talked about today. We just haven't used the right word, but the people analyzer. To me, it's such a big piece of EOS and running a good business. And the people analyzer is just comparing everyone to those 5 core values and GWCing them. Do they get it? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity to do it? And we have a standard as to what our people need to be at, and they need to be above that standard. And if they're not, then we need to put them on some type of plan. And so I think
Coaching plan, yeah.
That tool is, like Josh said, is such a great tool. It takes away the emotions. We have that minimum, and it's really helpful for leaders to be able to analyze people equally.
I'd say for me, it's been, Sean and I have dove head deep into this new AI world. And I think something that I'm starting to understand about myself is I need to be around people like Sean who are interested in learning, because I tend to almost like jive off that. If I'm around someone who doesn't enjoy learning, my attitude plummets. I have to be challenged. I was like that way since I was a little kid. And so I can easily get distracted if I'm not challenged. And I appreciate that Sean is challenging me in that regard to continue to learn and do, better things.
Love that. I think for me, it's just the realization to stay grounded. There are so many issues in the world right now. There's so many issues in each of our businesses, and there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And I think it's really important to just stay present and to be able to ride those ups and downs. We need to know where we want to get to, but we also have to know there's going to be peaks and valleys as we go. And the more that we can stay grounded in the present moment and just enjoy the process as we go, the better opportunity we're going to have to ride that wave.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think for me, like I've been pregnant a lot the last 6.5 years, so I'm finally like on the trajectory of really getting into a routine, like with working out and building strength again and figuring out what that looks like. And that's been nice because our youngest started daycare in January, so transitioning really back into having all 4 kids in school and just figuring out what that looks like has been nice.
Nice.
We've talked a lot about business, but one thing that we really care about, which of course we've touched on throughout today anyways, is family and the people behind the work. So let's talk a little bit about life outside of work. What values are important to you and your family?
Sure. I think number one is just absolute 100% support for each other. We always know that we're going to be there for each other. So I think that's really important. And open communication. I think really having, and we're really good, both our kids are good with that, really making sure we communicate openly and honestly, as my wife and I are very good at that too.
So let's step back a second and talk a little bit about, so you were a teacher, you've owned a business, you're an EOS implementer, and in that time you've had a family.
That's right.
You've been married, you have kids.
Been married for 30 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So tell us about how family integrated into that teacher entrepreneurship EOS life.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that earlier this morning. When I started Soccer Shots, that was 2007. My son was 3. My daughter was just under 1. So that was a big leap to leave teaching at that time, but also really was a good opportunity to be an entrepreneur and have a little more fluidity and flexibility in my schedule versus teaching and having to be somewhere all day. So that was really great with young kids. And also to get them involved in Soccer Shots, and they're both soccer players and athletes. And so that was really great. So that worked really well together.
Nice.
It's awesome. And so you've got these kids, you got this new business, you have the flexibility, but at some point you've got to dedicate yourself to the business.
When I started the business, like probably a lot of entrepreneurs, right? I started in my house.
Yeah.
So that was actually, but it worked out well. I had young kids at the time, so it actually was a good way to match that. I think I was able to focus. Obviously, I had a very supportive wife, Beth, who's a psychotherapist. She has a private practice, so she had flexibility as well. So that was really great. And then once my kids obviously got into school, it becomes a little bit easier because they have the structure to go ahead and really put the energy in to build that business. But also Soccer Shots at the time when I first started it too, I worked really hard and grinded very hard, but also I still kept my weekends free because that was really important to me. You know, I coached them in Soccer Shots when they were little. I coached them in rec soccer as they started to get older. In rec basketball, I coached them. I had time to be I was on the board of directors for Northwest Austin Youth Basketball Association. I was the director of coaching for 7 years for that. Then I coached them in club soccer. So I was always very connected to my kids. Sports really helped unify us together. And so that was really great.
So we've had 3 kids go through soccer shots, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for playing.
But the classes are on the weekends. So I assume that you had to have somebody kind of manage that when you're with your family on the weekends.
Yeah, and I had coaches to coach those on the weekends for sure.
Yeah.
So I had time with my family.
Yeah, because I assume you got calls, I can't show up, I'm sick or whatnot. I would imagine that's a...
Yes, and especially early on, that was me running to go take that class. And I think fast forward, right, and we implemented EOS, I put in a leadership team, we had clear accountability. And then I remember at one point, this was really a big shift for me. I know I'm shifting out of family, but the big shift was, I'm never going to go cover a class.
It's as simple as that.
And I'm going to tell you all, and I was very clear with here's who's accountable for it, and you all have to figure that out. And that was like the biggest letting go of the vine really in that business for me.
Yeah, that's important. That's part of family because you made the decision to be with your family on the weekends. There's accountability of your team to make sure that you don't have to be the one filling in.
Yeah, definitely.
That's great.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest surprise from being a parent and having a family? Anything that specifically surprised you? Could you be today or back when they were really young?
I got to think about that. So I've got a 19-year-old and an almost 22-year-old. So that was a long time ago. But really, I don't know if it's a surprise so much, but I just love watching my kids grow and excel and become young adults. Watching my son Zev really develop as a musician and producer, and he's about to graduate with a degree in music industry from Loyola in New Orleans. And just been really great to watch him really develop. And then my daughter's a freshman at San Diego State and really coming into her own, both in terms of socially and academically and in terms of creativity, being creative with photography. So it's not so much a surprise, but just the joy that I get in watching them grow and just really stay connected as a family unit.
Do you have any advice for parents that have young kids? Because you guys, obviously, Beth is a psychotherapist too, so she has a lot of advice. Did you guys have like core values as a family when you were, or do you have
try to survive? I think that was our core value. I was like, are we doing
and
this?
And then beyond that?
We didn't have defined core values. That was pre-EOS.
Yeah.
We didn't have defined core values, but I think it was always around let's communicate. Let's support our kids. If they need extra support, let's not wait to go get that support. And I think be open and honest. Be open and honest where, look, there's challenges for every family and each child is different and it's not easy being a parent, as you all know, right? It's hard. And there's no real model. There's some books out there, but most parents, there's no real model to it. And you're just trying to figure it out, maybe based on your own sort of family history. But I think it's really about communicating, especially communicating well with your partner.
No, I'm just like, your kids sound so nurtured and so well adjusted. Like from what because we do talk about your kids a little bit every time we get together, and it's impressive because not everybody that's at your kids' age seems to be thriving in the same way your kids are. So I just think that's it's interesting for me to hear about it as because all you want is for your kids to be like successful in whatever that looks like for them.
Yeah, I think it's just around providing support.
Yeah.
Support and communication.
Yeah.
Like it's good. Things will be hard. So
yeah,
when
life
they're hard,
does not get easier.
So when they're hard, how do you make sure that you keep those lines of communication, especially as they start to get to be teenagers and then young adults? And I think that starts early to try to keep those lines of communication open.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Thank you, Eddie.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. What a fun time. I love this.
We really appreciate you as our EOS implementer. You do a really good job of obviously guiding us through this process, but then keeping us accountable. Thank you to our audience for listening. We do invite you to submit questions, follow on social, rate, share, and subscribe Beyond the Build. And we appreciate you very much. Thank you.